Okay, today I want to talk to you about tripods. Now, we've discussed this somewhat in the lessons, but I want to make a special note here about tripods. For the last couple of days, I've been involved in an interesting dialogue or multi-log on Facebook with one of the professors from Columbia Journalism School and some of his acolytes, all of whom believe that you should have tripods with you all the time because it always makes for a steady shot. To me, this is crazy. There is no reason to take a tripod with you hardly ever, except in the few eventualities when you're either shooting a formal sit-down interview like this, which I don't really recommend, but I'm doing it anyway, or you're shooting things that don't move like buildings or houses or pictures of art on the wall and stuff like that. Otherwise, having a tripod is just a drag, and it's plain stupid, and it slows you down. The whole purpose of video journalism is that you can be light and mobile and move around quickly, and you don't have to drag a lot of equipment around. You don't have to spend time setting things up. The purpose of video journalism is you're light on your feet, you're able to get into a story, you can move quickly, you can get in close, there's intimacy. The best analogy I can make, and I make it all the time, is to compare video journalism to what great photographers did with little Leicas in the 1940s when they invented things like Magnum and photojournalism became an art instead of being this formal standard thing with giant cameras and big things. The tripod is an anchor. It holds you down. It is a stupid thing to carry around with you unless you absolutely positively need it. Now, if you do absolutely positively need it, what I don't want you to get, I don't want you to get one of these pieces of crap. You see the size of this thing? It's enormous and it's pointless. And you really want, once you start dragging this thing around with you, you can't go anywhere. And I understand it's got this nifty fluid head on the top so you can make these nice pans and stuff. Don't do that. Nobody goes, whoa, look at that. The only reason these pans happen is because cameramen, who they had to carry the crap around with them, got bored and had nothing else to do. So they took the camera and they moved it around like that. Do not do this. If you have one of these things, throw it in the garbage. I don't want to see it anymore. It's a complete stupid waste of time, and it will slow you down. I've seen people actually affix little tiny iPhones like this to giant tripods like that. This is dumb, dumb, dumb. Do not do it. Throw out your tripods. When I first went to the BBC and took them on as a client, and I spent 5 years there training 1,400 people, the BBC technical people had ordered a tripod like this, even a bigger one, Sackler heads. They must have cost $3,000 each for all of their video journalists. And we had 1,400 video journalists, and that was a lot of tripods. So when I walked in the storeroom, I looked at them, I said, send them all back. And of course, all the cameramen, the professional cameramen from the BBC and the professional technician stuff were all aghast. Why would we do that? I said, because once you start to drag that crap around with you, you're going to lose the whole point of this thing, which is a different kind of television. The point of video journalism is not to imitate what CNN does. If that's all you do, you are wasting your time. The point of video journalism is this is a kind of artistic and creative revolution in terms of what television could be. And what it can be is a lot more personal, a lot more powerful, a lot more intimate. But that intimacy begins with getting rid of all, first getting rid of the crew, and then getting rid of all the gear except for the gear that you absolutely positively need. Now, every once in a while, as I said before, you are going to need a tripod because you're going to have to put the camera up to do formal sit-down interviews or exteriors of buildings, even though I hate those things, an architectural story. Paintings on the wall, you go to a museum. There are times you need a long static shot. And here's what I recommend in terms of tripods. This is the one that I use. This is a Gitzo. It's made out of carbon fiber, so it weighs next to nothing. It's not cheap, but it's worth the money. This thing obviously is light as a feather, and it holds, it holds your little camera. It certainly holds an iPhone, which is what I use it for when I'm doing my own live feeds and stuff like that. It's a great piece of gear to have around. It breaks down so you can pack it up, you carry it easily, it doesn't weigh anything. If you must have a tripod, and probably there are times that you must, then I would recommend having this. The whole purpose here, remember I always say do not move the camera? Any idiot can sit and hold an iPhone like this or like this for 10 seconds without moving it. Watch the perimeter of the shot to make sure it doesn't move. You do not want a tripod. Now, if this is too much gear, too expensive for you to drag around, there's this thing, which I also carry with me occasionally. And you can also just attach a little iPhone, a little camera on that, and this also steadies it just for those few shots that you need. Or just put the goddamn thing on a book or something like that, just to get the shot you need. Do not drag a tripod with you. Do not carry a tripod. Do not buy a tripod. If you have to buy one, buy the cheapest one you can get your hands on, the smallest one, the lightest one. It's an encumbrance. I don't want you to have it. It's only going to mess you up. Are you getting this over at Columbia Journalism School? Because you're paying $65,000 for some bad advice. Talk to you later.